Hello weirdos, welcome to Sable Flare. Today I'll be ranking my green eyeshadow palettes, the criteria being that the palette needs to be at least half green. So this ranking is really a matter of personal preference. I like all the formulas in these palettes just fine, for the most part. We'll get to that, but nothing is terrible here, so it's just a bit of fun. I have a couple honorable mentions. They're less than half green, but still have some great greens in them, so they are noteworthy. The first one being the Simply Posh Fairy Tale Fairies palette, and I have improved the artwork, as you can see, because it was not that interesting to me. There are some really nice greens in this palette, so definitely worth noting. The second honorable mention is the Shroud and Batty Bean It's Frickin' Bats palette. I have improved the artwork of this one as well. And this one also has some really fun greens, also a teal. Definitely appreciate a good green teal as opposed to a teal blue. That's just my preference. At the bottom of the ranking is Odin's Eye Flora Story with Makeup Just for Fun. I definitely do appreciate the green shimmers in here. It's just that the mattes are too grayy for me, except for this really nice orchid color. But still some really nice green shimmers, so that's why it's at the bottom of the ranking. Odin's Eyes Oud is an awesome travel size green palette. I especially love the olive tones in this. I think in terms of regular daily palettes, I would like to have a bit more options than this. However, it's a good travel palette. Next is ColourPop's Mandalorian palette. This one also has some really nice olive greeny tones. Definitely my preference. ColourPop's formula is fine. This is probably one of their better palettes. The color story is pretty simple, and that's fine. I think I like the mattes in here a lot better than the shimmers, just because the shimmers tend to be pretty light, and in some cases kind of silvery, which I would prefer more of a gold leaning than silver leaning, just personally. Next is Sugar Drizzle's Pickle palette. Really cute, really compact, great concept. I like the mattes in here, I just wish there were deeper options. Because of having mature hooded eyes, darker colors really help me out. So lighter shades are nice too, but that's not my preference. There are some really nice shimmers in here, however, and they are special, which is why it is up this far in the ranking. Glamlight's Scooby-Doo Rutro Raggy palette has some really nice tonal options. I do like some of the deeper shades. It's really nice to have. That's something I appreciate about Glamlight, is they tend to have deeper shades in their palettes. The mattes in this are okay otherwise. The shimmers are really where it's at. They are special. Glamlight's Pizza Veggie Lovers palette is sort of the opposite deal. The mattes are buttery, easy to blend, and the shimmers are not a problem. They just are kind of flat tonally. This is an older formula of theirs, to be fair. Also, some of these tones are not quite my favorite. They're a little too cool of a green for me. I do appreciate having the other grungy tonal options, so it's not just 100% green, because while that's awesome sometimes when done correctly, it's not what I always want. Copacetic Cosmetics Spelunking palette. There's not even a green matte in here, it's a black. These shimmers, though, are so special and fun, it's made it up this high in the ranking. This is the first Franken palette of the bunch. Menagerie's Feral and Whale Song palette combined for the greens. I picked the Feral packaging, of course, because it is green. This is what I would have liked the original color story to look like, most likely. I have swapped out a couple shimmers for ones from copacetic and pretties for your face just to get the tones that I like, so mostly olive and swampy, but there are some other options in here. Really nice blendable buttery mattes, and I do like their shimmers as well. Beauty Bay's Earthy palette. I have improved on the artwork yet again. Possibly my only absolutely all green palette. I really appreciate their split, the cool side and the warm side, so I can really find the tones that I'm looking for. I tend to focus more on the warm side, but it's really nice to have cooler tone deepening up shades. I really like that. There's also some really nice shimmers on the cool side of this palette. So of course you can see there are some olivey tones. The shimmers are creamy. Some of the mattes are not quite there. Here's another Franken palette. It is Clarity Cosmetics, what used to be the Cobra palette, as well as a couple of their singles. I've improved the artwork yet again. This was all Clarity shades, however, one turned into a fine powder and exploded on me. That's why there's one non-Clarity shade in here. I really like the Clarity shimmers, even though they're more traditional, probably because these are just my favorite tones. Obviously, the grungy olivey gets it pretty high up in the ranking despite its issues. Give Me Glow's Juicy Olive palette is definitely a favorite. You can guess why. These olive grungy tones are my absolute favorite. The shimmers are more traditional, but still very nice. The mattes are super buttery, easy to blend, and I just enjoy this palette so much. Unearthly's Devour palette, super pretty and awesome. This palette comes in because it is literally half green, and these greens are super special. I like Unearthly's formula for mattes quite a bit. It's easy to get a fun look, and these shimmers are super special. There are two that are very similar on their shifts, but one is more translucent than the other, so I think I can forgive it. We've reached the #1 green palette in my collection. Can you guess what it is? Probably not. It is Onsai's Stone and Rock palette. I do really like their formula, if you couldn't tell, and it just keeps getting better. These are super easy to blend all around. The shimmers are super special and fun. I really like the variety of tones, that nice cooler green deepening up shade. There's a nice variety of formulas to work with here, so that's also interesting. I do like the inclusion of the non-green shades because it feels like they're there to enhance and work with the green shades as opposed to just be random. How did they get inside my head and know what I want? Even the random shimmery taupe shade has a fun pink shift to it. I don't usually go for taupe at all. It doesn't complement my skin tone. But we've also got this like super nice cool green deepening up shade. There's a yummy mustardy color. It's just perfect, and therefore #1. The only shades I don't feel like I need are the white and the black. I feel like that works really well in a very glam palette, and I don't feel like that's what this is color choice wise, and that's okay. I could just add some more greens for me. You know, something more glam I guess would be like the Giant Wolves palette. I feel like there's at least a black in there, if not a white, but that would make sense. I appreciate you watching this video. Please give a like and subscribe, and thanks for joining me on my green palette journey. See you next time.